Hello and welcome, my dear friend. You're here for a strong reason, because today, I'm not here to sugarcoat reality or lull you into a sense of false comfort. I'm here to tell you the truth, the kind that shakes your soul and shifts your perspective forever. If you've ever felt like the world around you was closing in, like your support system suddenly had cracks you didn't see before, this message is for you. Because it's in those cracks, those uncomfortable moments, that the light of revelation breaks through. What I'm about to say may sting a little, but I promise you, it's exactly what you need to hear. So, lean in. Cut off the distractions. This is your wake-up call. Why everyone won't clap for you. Let's be honest. Being chosen isn't what most people think it is. They imagine glory, applause, and people lining up to recognize your greatness. But in reality, being chosen means walking a path that many people are too afraid to even glance at. You don't fit in. You're not supposed to. You weren't made to be part of the crowd. And while you're out here searching for validation from family, friends, and loved ones, God is trying to show you something much bigger. He's teaching you that their applause isn't necessary for your ascension. Have you noticed that people only seem to call when they need something from you? Suddenly, you're the go-to person when they're in a crisis. But when you need an ounce of support, they vanish. It's not an accident. It's not just how people are. It's a revelation. They were never for you. And the sooner you stop trying to prove your worth to them, the faster you'll move into the season that's waiting for you. Stop expecting them to get it. Stop expecting them to see your vision, to acknowledge your growth, or to celebrate your wins. If they didn't see your value when you were in the trenches, they won't see it now that you've elevated. Let that sink in. The closer you get to your purpose, the quieter the crowd becomes. Why? Because your success exposes their lack of movement. It's not your job to drag them with you. Your only job is to keep walking, even if the only sound you hear is the echo of your own footsteps. The unseen battle. Why loneliness is part of your transformation. Let's talk about loneliness. That unspoken, gut-wrenching part of growth that nobody posts about. People love to show off their highlight reels, but stay silent about those nights when the weight of the world sits on your chest like a boulder. Let me tell you something raw. The lonely season isn't about suffering. It's about building what you're destined for. When God sets you apart, He doesn't do it for aesthetics or drama. He does it because the next version of you can't be built with the old people, the old habits, or the old mindset. You'll notice that as you rise, certain people start disappearing. At first, you'll blame yourself. You'll question if you did something wrong. But that's the trap. You didn't lose them. They lost you. Loneliness is the detox for your destiny. You can't hear God's voice with the noise of everybody else's opinions in your ears. And let's be honest, some of those friends were only there to monitor your growth, not support it. God saw what you couldn't. He saw the backhanded comments disguised as jokes. He saw the secret jealousy in their heart. So He removed them for you, not to hurt you, but to protect you. Every time you sit in that quiet room, wondering why no one's checking in on you, remind yourself, the silence is where your strength is built. The family facade. When bloodlines don't mean bond lines. This one's going to hit home, literally. Family. The people who are supposed to know you better than anyone, right? But what happens when the people you love don't love the version of you that God is creating? What happens when your growth becomes a mirror that forces them to see their stagnation? It's painful. It hurts. But it's also necessary. There's a reason Jesus said, "Who is my family? Those that do my Father's will." He knew what we'd be up against. It's one thing to be betrayed by friends, but it's a whole other wound when it's family. Some of you have been trying to prove yourself to people who will never acknowledge your growth. Not because you haven't grown, but because doing so would force them to confront their own lack of growth. Your family isn't always your audience, and they're definitely not always your support system. That's a hard pill to swallow, but you need to hear it. Your growth isn't an indictment on them. It's a reflection of your calling. Some of them will never clap for you, no matter how loud your success echoes, and that's okay. God didn't call them to clap. He called you to climb. So, climb. Climb without looking back for approval. Climb without seeking validation from people who only applaud what they can understand. Let me ask you this. How many of your family members have asked you, "How can I support you?" versus how many have asked, "What can you do for me?" There's your answer. The greatest revelation: you're not built like them, and that's the point. You've been asking, why don't they treat me like I treat them? Here's the answer. They're not you. They don't have your heart, your grit, your compassion, or your spirit. So stop expecting them to. You're wasting energy trying to understand why they move the way they do. God didn't build you with the same parts. When you love for real. When you commit for real. But don't assume that everyone else is like you. They're not. Some people have transactional hearts. They move in and out of relationships based on what they can gain. You move on principle. You move on faith. And that's why they can't keep up with you. They don't have the stamina for it. Chosen ones are cut from a different fabric. We're made to endure, to stretch, to grow, and to rise, even when it hurts. But the truth is, that kind of heart is rare. It's not the norm. And that's why you feel so out of place sometimes. Stop shrinking to make others comfortable. They're not uncomfortable because of you. They're uncomfortable because of what you represent. Your success is a threat to their excuses. Your growth exposes their stagnation. So, stop explaining yourself. Stop downplaying your dreams to make them feel okay. Their comfort is not your responsibility. You are not here to fit in. You are here to break through. Press on because the call is too big to ignore. If you've been waiting for permission to step fully into your calling, this is it. No more holding back. No more waiting for them to get it. If they don't see your value, that's on them, not you. The doors God is opening for you don't require a +1. So, walk through them boldly. This journey is not easy, but that's the point. Easy is for the ordinary. You are extraordinary. Don't mistake your loneliness for abandonment. It's alignment. Don't mistake their silence for absence. It's clarity. God is showing you everything you need to see, and sometimes it's not pretty. But you weren't called to pretty. You were called to purpose. Keep walking. Keep pressing. And when it feels like nobody sees you, remember this. God sees you. And that's enough. Because when it's all said and done, you won't just survive, you'll thrive. You'll rise so high that even the ones who doubted you will have to admit, "I didn't see it coming." If this message spoke to you, let it be a reminder that you are not walking alone. Press on. I'll see you at the top. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found value in this video, please like, share, subscribe, and continue your transformational journey by watching one of the videos on your screen that resonates with you. See you there.